What's important to keep in mind when you are trying to persuade someone is that two people can see the same thing differently. And you can see this if you're in a room with someone. You could be standing on one side of the room, the other person standing on the other side of the room. You're looking at the same object, but it looks different to the two of you. One of you can see one side of the object that the other person can't see. So two people can see the same thing differently. This is really important to keep in mind as you're building up your ideas muscle for your piece of persuasive writing. Because the people you will write to might already see that thing the same way that you do and agree with you. The people you're writing to might disagree with you. They might see that same thing differently. And you have to convince them that your perspective is correct through your reasons. And then some people won't really care. They might not have an opinion or a perspective or an idea on what you're talking about. And it's up to you to kind of convince them. So there's sort of different ends of a spectrum. There's people who already agree with you, people who might agree with you, and people who don't agree with you. And this is really important to have in mind. I've often used the example with my students of a bed. And when they're younger, when you go into a hotel room with adults, and I ask, do kids and adults see a bed the same way in a hotel room? Usually what I hear is that kids see the bed and they see a trampoline, something to jump on, especially if there's two of them, jump between them. I know that was my style when I was much younger. Loved jumping between beds. And that's all I could really think to do on a bed. Hop in the room, jump between the beds. But an adult doesn't look at a bed and see a trampoline. An adult looks at a bed, the same thing, but sees it very differently, and sees it as a place that you don't jump. It sees it as a place for sleep, a place for rest, maybe a place to set your suitcase down while you're unpacking things. And my 6-year-old self did not see the bed in that way. So two people can see the same thing very differently. Two people can see the same thing and have very different perspectives about that thing. And when you're developing your ideas, building up that ideas muscle, preparing to write your persuasive letter, it's important to consider that when some people hear your idea, they might see it the same way as you. They might not have thought about it, or they may have thought about it and already disagree with you. If you know who you're writing to and you already know their perspective, take that into consideration when you're thinking about the ideas and reasons that you will put in your writing. Because you might say things very differently if you're speaking to someone who already agrees with you compared to someone who disagrees with you. Because two people can see the same thing differently.